Yeah, I think we can start.
Great. So good evening. Thank you very much for joining our third very important conversation with all of you around how do we start changing the landscape of inclusion at workplaces. That's our intent, and we are Sarthi. Thank you very much for joining us today in this very important conversations. Today's conversation is essentially going to focus on coming out with your disability, and our focus today is essentially going to be on invisible disabilities. Uh, Many of us, most of us who are joining this live stream may either have a family member that we are supporting in terms of a disability, or we've gone through a disability at some stage, or we still continue to have that disability and we will stay with it, and may have experienced how visible disabilities are identified. People tend to relate to disability, talk about it, and approach it. Most times we find that individuals with visible disabilities are literally approached and spoken with about their disabilities. The ecosystems like to talk about it, employers like to talk about it. They want to know whether you can deliver tasks, work, can you move around, can you access buildings, can you access infrastructure. But the shifts that you see globally and as well as in India from a law perspective and inclusion perspective, the definition of disability changed significantly from considering about only um, 6 or 7 disabilities to 21 disabilities. And you'd find that a lot of these disabilities that got added are what we call invisible disabilities. And these have a range of disabilities, right from low vision to thalassemia to various other aspects that we may want to consider. And many times as we start talking, because at Sarthi we have conversations not just with persons with disabilities who are seeking careers and in their journeys helping them move to corporates, but also with a lot of progressive corporates who really want to understand the elements of disability. They are curious about knowing how they can bring in a more diverse workforce, but many times they do not understand invisible disabilities
You are muted.
because nobody is really talking about it. Now, in that scenario, we need to start talking about how have we approached. I think somebody is uh, not on mute.
The host muted you. Audio now unmuted. Ashutosh Striker.
Okay, so sorry for that interruption. So with that context, today's conversation is going to be about how have we approached and how do we see some of the experiences around invisible disabilities as we start approaching the job market, the employment market, workplaces, and what has been our journey in terms of having that conversation to seek reasonable accommodation, to seek the adjustments that we need to be able to deliver work efficiently, and more so to make the ecosystems that are wanting to employ persons with disabilities and are open to understand, making them more aware of what invisible disabilities mean and how they may or may not truly impact anything when it comes to performance or delivery. So with that, I would like to start off with our panelists, and if the panel can introduce themselves, it'll be really good. We could know in no particular order. We could start with what I can see on my left of the screen is Darshana, followed by Ashish, and then Aarti.
Hello everyone, I am Darshana. Currently, I am a homemaker and my disabilities, I'm having low vision. Am I audible?
Yes,
Am I
Darshana, you're
audible?
audible. Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes, and I work for last 6 years in a NGO, Highway Help Desk, as a Highway Help Desk counselor. And there I faced uh, lots of challenges regarding my vision, but somehow I overcome all the things and I successfully made my career. So I will talk about it later. Thank you.
Thank you, Darshana. Ashish, you would want to just.
Thank you, Darshana, and thank you, Sandeep, for inviting me over here. Well, my career has spanned across a few industries. You know, I'm a chartered accountant. I started working with companies like KPMG and G. Then got an opportunity to be a part of an e-commerce startup. So we were five of us, and we grew the company from 5 to 1,500. I was heading finance there. From there, I moved on and became the CFO of GoIbibo. And it was around this time that I started facing quite a few issues as far as health is concerned. I also have a low vision. So I sort of, out of choice, out of passion, and out of the fact that this would be the best option for me given the health, I kind of decided to move into the content space. So I started a content studio by the name of Awesomeness, and it's been 9 years. It's been a great journey. I've been making a lot of films, writing a lot of stories, making a lot of music, and I think slowly and steadily, I'm now moving back into the strategic roles that I used to do. Because I've kind of gotten a lot more confidence back. There was a time that I kind of lost a lot of confidence, but I think God's been kind, and I've got very good support from my family and friends, in fact, and I think that's kind of helped me come back on the track. So, in short, this is who I am right now.
Thanks for sharing that, Ashish. Aarti, over to you.
Hello everyone. My name is Aarti and my career journey is it's basically beginning right now. I'm 24 years old. I recently did my master's in English literature, and I'm also a person with thalassemia, which is a blood disorder for those who don't know. It's a blood disorder where you require regular transfusions to like live a healthy life, live a good life. Uh, and I started working in the disability sector right after my education. I just came across this fellowship program hosted by NCPEDP, called the Javed Abidi Fellowship Program. And the fellowship program focuses on research and advocacy about disability rights. And my area of work has been around healthcare, to understand how accessible primary healthcare centers are in Gurgaon, to understand that how equipped government health systems are to cater to PWDs or person with disabilities, and to mostly focus on early intervention and diagnosis of children with disabilities so that they can manage their disabilities well throughout the age, which can help them in turn like to get better education, better employment at the later stages. So that's what I have been doing. And yeah, uh, I've also like had a bit of my journey when it came to work, uh, coming out at workplaces, coming out at the higher education institutions and everything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to talk about it.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much for sharing and setting that context. So just to sort of get started, let me put this question across to you, Ashish. If you would want to, share a bit about, how and at what stage, and Darshana's back. So, at what stage did you sort of identify that there was some challenge from a vision perspective, a low vision that was emerging, and what was the journey between identification and now?
Sure.
It really helped people to sort of understand how you navigated through that.
No, so by birth, in fact, my eyesight was quite weak. So I started with a negative number of 5 and 7 in the eye. So that was my first specs, and I had high myopia, so it just kept increasing and pretty much went up to negative 27, 28. So that was the kind of power that I was sort of wearing as far as my glasses are concerned. But my vision was fine. Initially there was a lot of problem, but there was a lot of exercises that I had to do. So mainly when people were in their summer holidays were planning a trip to Mauritius, I was planning a trip to the hospital. And my parents and I used to like for 2 months just do like those very rigorous exercises, and that's how the vision started improving.
Right.
And my family was very supportive, and they gave a very strong background, which so I did not really grow up thinking that I have an issue, but in reality there was the vision was always a problem. So I always have to like sit in front of the in front of the class, and I was always kind of struggling to see things around me. Say for example, if a bus is going, then I would, struggle in sort of reading the number of the bus, and in fact, then miss the bus, and so on and so forth. But I always kind of in my mind thought that I'm just fine, and hence I started studying. Maybe I put in a lot of more effort. Maybe if I would have been normal, I would not have like studied so much. But I think that was like the compensation that I had to sort of give to myself. So. Uh, um, so yeah, so that's how the journey began. The journey began quite in oblivion that there is anything wrong with me.
Okay.
And that's exactly how it went in the corporate as well. The moment I entered the corporate, I never kind of thought that there is something wrong with me. Though when when I had to look at the presentations, or do some minute work on Excel and all, there were issues that I was facing. But my whole journey was really kind of went in an introspection zone that or in fact went in a zone where I was very confused whether I should be asking for help or I should not be asking for help, and I chose not to ask for help when I was working in the corporate. I thought that if I would ask for help, there will be some. It would be treated as if I'm not at par with the rest of the people. Whereas I thought that my mind is very sharp and I can think very fast. It's just that I can't see a few things which the other people can see, and hence they are more ahead. They're ahead of in terms of at least comprehending what's going on in a meeting room, what's going on in the presentation. So that's where I lacked, but my mind was sharp.
Right.
So I was growing up in a big contrast that while I feel very confident when it comes to doing my work, at the same time physically I was facing some issues. So I honestly grew in a dilemma whether there is some issue or not an issue. So yeah, that's been my journey.
Thanks for sharing that, Ashish. And a couple of points that I picked up from there. You might have missed a few buses, which you could not see, but you definitely did not miss the bus when it came to career or
Yes.
professional journey or growth or even building such a large organization.
Yeah.
And that says a lot about the mental makeup that's needed versus, at times accepting what's needed to be done. Also, I guess the journey that you're speaking about, many of the accessibility conversations those days did not happen in organizations. Many of the accessibility tools were yet to emerge. And between then and now, what are the shifts? If I was to sort of come back to you, if you were to start this conversation again, if you were to start this journey again, and with all the accessibility that is available today and with all the awareness that is gradually coming, how would you restart this?
I think the first thing that I would really do is tell my mind that it's okay. I think more than the fact that I have to go out there and tell the world, I had to, agree to the fact that there is a different kind of ability. I've never liked the term disability while, we talk about this quite a bit, but I like the term differently abled. And I think this, every word, every word really carries an emotion at the end of the day, right? So for me, it kind of carried like a negative connotation, a negative emotion in my mind. At that time, if I knew that this is just common, it's just okay to be this, and if the society was talking more, and if people around me were talking more, I think I would have accepted a lot quicker in my mind that it's just fine. There are tools available. The society is accepting it, and it's just okay to sort of go out and talk about this, and it would be just okay. So what I'm trying to say is that if if I were to restart my journey, I would first restart it in my mind. It's taken me many, many years to really accept, honestly, and even I'm still going through that journey still till now, to accept that I'm just a little differently able, and that's it. And there is nothing wrong apart from that. So that's one. And second, I think I would not have hesitated in asking for accommodation. I would not have hesitated in maybe upfront telling with a lot of confidence that this is what the reality is, and my mind is sharp. Test me on my mind. Say, for example, the reason why I couldn't clear IMs and these GMATs and all was that we had to like read so fast within 3 hours, and finish those GMATs and those CAT tests in that short span of time. And my reading was not that fast. So I wish these kind of conversations were common back then, so that there were accommodations for people who had actually a physical issue, not a mental. From a comprehension point of view, there was no issue as such. So I think one is that I would have told myself a very different story, and second, I would have been very, very upfront in asking for the right kind of support, and also would have changed my whole connotation as far as asking for support is concerned. I always thought that if I'm asking for an accommodation, if I'm asking for a support, I'm weak. So it was a lot of stories that honestly I just told myself, I would say. And I wish I had this mind that I have now. I think 20 years back, if I had this, my career would have been a little more different. But I'm quite happy that I still made it to and did
Absolutely.
whatever I
And
had.
thank you very much for this sharing this absolutely honest, feeling from how you processed the entire journey and how you've seen that shift, over a period and how you relate to it today. Because I know a lot of the listeners will be taking away a lot from this journey because these are similar dilemmas that people would be processing.
Yeah.
Uh, let's move to another generation right here. And so, Aarti, over to you. What has been this journey like for you? Because you're possibly the newest generation in this conversation with us. So, what has this journey been like for you? And if you sort of reflect back or experiences that you started having, what would you share as an insight or experience?
So my journey began when I was 6 months old. I was diagnosed with thalassemia then. So I think I had quite of a life, like most of my lifetime to process it through and to gain that acceptance about thalassemia and that how it is my identity. Like it took me 24 years, but yeah, we came here. I think when it comes to disclosing the disability, so my parents were quite supportive in that way. Like again, it was never in my home. Never in my home. It made to feel that you are someone who has an issue. It's always that there's this healthcare burden that you have to take care of constantly because it's like a constant cycle and you can't escape from it. That's there, but other than that, my parents never compromised on education for me or anything else, to be honest. But I think I faced a lot of stigma around the around my extended family. So from there, uh, the consciousness, the the stigma that also internalized in me that maybe there's something wrong with me. And then when you get into a schooling systems, then when you take regular off times and you have to explain your peers why were you not attending school for this day, and you were or like so in thalassemia a lot of complications also happen, so you might miss school for a longer duration. So that's like that conversation. And then I have also seen how people started pulling away from me because like when I tell them about my disability, so all this accumulated, and it made me very conscious to talk about my disability anywhere. uh, Up until college, it was like let's just not talk about it. Yeah. So afterwards, I think I am very thankful to my education because I was able to read through things, I was able to understand things on my own, and I was able to make up my mind that how disability is nothing but an identity. Like, uh, like Ashish said, that how the word disability comes with a negative connotation, but that's the issue with it. It shouldn't come with a negative connotation. Like disability as a word in linguistics, like in literature, in we talk linguistics. So how that linguistics linguistical analogy should be normalized. That even if I'm a person with disability, that doesn't make me anywhere lesser than you. So I think that like that understanding, when that understanding came to me, I was able to accept my disabled identity, and I started talking about it. Like when I started talking about it, I just thought that there are many people around me who are going through the same dilemmas. So I looked for a platform where I can talk about it and people can hear about it and get a little bit more like like not, I'm not saying I want to be a messiah for anyone, but at least someone can talk like someone get an inspiration to maybe talk about it a little more. So that's where the understanding of disability came from. And yeah, I think that's, and when it came, now when I talk about my career, when I talk about in context to my career and the journey of that, I think I have faced a fair share of stigma because thalassemia is not considered a disability in many organizations because they don't know about it, they don't understand it, there is no understanding of thalassemia, and that's where the issue is. But I still think, like, since you said I'm from a different generation, I had a better access to a little more sensitive world. There was at least a understanding of what reasonable accommodations are. Like Ashish talked about GMAT examination duration hours. So like when 2016 Act came, I was able to get 2 hours extra on that exam, and I was able to qualify for it. So I think that also helped me in some such sense, because like the generational gap we talked about. But I still feel when it comes to invisible disabilities, and especially in organizational setups, we have a long way to go because people are not aware that there exists a disorder as thalassemia. Because and even though it is mentioned in RPWD Act as a part of 21 disabilities, the awareness around it's very dismal. So yeah, that's what my journey has been.
Great inputs, Aarti. And actually, it's so amazing how what Ashish was sharing and how you're sharing it sort of connects on a lot of elements. I think the first one is this whole thing about moving through ability conversations. So how do you start having more ability conversations? The second was this whole change in the connotation and the acceptance of the connotation of the word. And the third is the fact that things have changed between if we pick up the last 10, 12 years, the awareness, understanding, as well
Yeah,
as,
definitely.
yeah, and the whole element of reasonable accommodations have changed. He picked up the
Yeah,
example of GMAT and how you were able to possibly relate to that shift. I think that's an
yeah,
amazing learning for people to say, when you start talking about some of these aspects, when you start talking about different disabilities and what your needs are, even the largest institutional platforms are able to change and accommodate. The
definitely. Yeah.
challenge comes down to, are we talking enough? And I guess that's the purpose of why we are all here today.
No, I
So,
think I
yeah,
think that since we talked about it so much, we were able to get a space in RPWD Act in 2016. Like that change happened after years and years of advocacy and talking about disabilities. I
absolutely.
like talking is the only solution.
Absolutely. So that's where change comes in. So putting some of these together and coming to Darshana, because she's worked in that space, she's been helping others understand, and Darshana, if you look at some of these two things, is there an experience or an example that you can share where you had a different set of views earlier and those changed, and how did you approach this? It'll really help everybody.
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you, Sathi, for giving me this opportunity to share my journey because it is very much important. Uh, I would like to start with my childhood. so that people would understand better. So basically, I born and brought up in a mediocre family, and as everyone has a dream, like uh, get education, get good job, and getting married. So this is how I was born and brought up, and absolutely there was no problem. I took my education. I got my job, first job in a IT company, Cognizant MNC. Then after that, I got married. So everything was going well. I was living my life wonderfully. I was very happy. And after a few years, suddenly I got to know that I'm suffering a eye condition, retinitis pigmentosa. And unfortunately, there was a sudden vision loss for me. So somehow in between, I have to leave my job in IT company. I was a married person. So when there was a vision loss, I was not aware how to live life with blindness, because in the surrounding since childhood I observe few visually impaired people, but I never had a conversation with them, or I was not aware how to live life, or how are they living this life with blindness or with white cane. I was not aware of it. And first of all, I took few years to accept my problem, my eye condition. My great dilemma was I am a person with vision impairment, and my partner, he is a sighted person. And now, as a society stigma, how would lead my life if there will be a vision loss? So, with this dilemma, I live in a depression for few years. And later, somehow, through some NGO, I got to know that there is a that a visually impaired person can operate computer with screen readers and mobile phone with voiceover or talk back. So hence I got that learning. I learned how to operate a computer with screen readers and phone with talkback, and from there my life has changed
Okay.
through certain NGO where I got these learnings, where I got this education. I took that opportunity. I took over. I learned computer, and therefrom I got the job of iWay Help Desk. I hope few of us might be knowing iWay Help Desk is an NGO, which is a basically helpline, toll-free helpline. They iWay contribute for how to live life with blindness and low vision, covering all the aspects. As somebody told before that he missed the bus, and same somehow certain incidences I faced in my life, like I missed my local, I missed my bus. I was not able to count my money because I was not able to understand how to identify currency. I learned computer as a sighted person in my whole life, and when I learned with screen reader, basically there was a gap when I joined my job. So in between, I forget how to access the computer with screen reader. So when there was a first day of my job, I was in panic. How I will counsel the people, how I will operate my computer. This was my condition. But with my job, I learn how to operate everything. I learn one fine day I guide everyone, every person, how they can live their life with blindness, how
Okay.
they can identify their currency, how they can identify color, how they can operate computer, how they can read their documents, how they can walk, how they can do their mobility with white cane. So in a way, I learn my life newly. This was a new birth basically for me, and I got confidence. I can match I can match my work with my husband. This is what I got to know after 2 3 years. I got my confidence back, and now I left my job due to my certain personal reasons, but still people are contacting me. They are asking me, madam, could you please tell us what I should add in my resume? Madam, could you please tell us certain software which I can use to read my documents, and etc. So this is how technology helped me a lot. Technology changed my life a lot, and now I can say I'm not a disabled person. I'm a able-bodied person with the help of technology and other assistive aids.
So great. Thank you very much for sharing this, Darshana, and the journey. And you just said that there are many people who reach out to you to say, what should we write in a resume? And the
Yes.
discussion we are having today is really around, persons who have invisible disabilities, disabilities that are not apparent to the eye. If I look at you, I will not be able to say you have low vision. Aarti has thalassemia. I can't say that optically. But is this something that people are now mentioning? Let's say, if not on their resume, at least in the interview. And if not, what holds them back? So, any inputs that you can share here, what holds them back and what can they do differently? Any inputs
Okay.
here will help. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, for every person with disabilities, it is important to focus on their skills. Means they should upgrade their skills, whatever they are good in. And if they are not aware of something, they can take help of their friends, their family, or any resource which can help them. But mostly I can relate with the visually impaired people because I work with them, and I'm also a visually impaired person. So basically, when visually impaired come across to find any job, so there are difficulty to get job because of many things. But mostly what I tell them is focus on your skill, improve skills, and there are chances to get job. Skills like communication, skills with technology, like they can learn computer languages also nowadays. Good communication, writing skills, it may be anything, and most importantly, mobility.
Ashish, if we were to bring this question back to you, uh, how do you see this change occurring? Because you've been interacting with a range of organizations as well as having multiple conversations with some very progressive organizations now, which are actually engaging and bringing their employees to understand different kinds of disabilities, almost normalizing the conversation around disability. And you've led many such conversations with progressive organizations. What are one or two things that you feel need to change for somebody with an invisible disability to be open about this?
No, I think the change really is happening. I feel that, and I want to believe in goodness first of all. In this world, I think corporates are looking for accommodating people with different abilities, and I see that a lot of dialogue is happening around this space. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Darshana. Sorry, I'm just kind of digressing from this thing because it was I think it requires a lot of courage, Darshana, and so glad that I heard your journey, and it gives me a lot of confidence, honestly. Of really restarting the whole life. You operate in a particular way, and then you go through something, and then you have to almost, as you said, it was kind of a rebirth, and I think lots of us really go through that. And just sorry, Sandeep, I'm digressing a little because I had a point over
That's
here.
fine. Please.
I think the most important thing for anyone who actually goes through some disability is really, if you have to come back in the whole employment phase, you have to start thinking from an employer's point of view. What is it that the employer is really looking for? The employer, at the end of the day, is really looking for whether you can work or not. At the end of the day, of course, there would be some accommodations that would be required, and there would be some support that you will require, and you are, in that state where you will need something which is extra or which is a little different from maybe an able person. But at the end of the day, can you, after using those accommodations, deliver the work that the employer really needs? And if we start thinking in that direction, then we will then start really developing a mindset of a growth mindset of and a skill mindset. And Darshana just rightly said that I think what people really need to start doing is really concentrate on their skills and bring those skills on their interview resume, or in their interviews, or in their resumes, or in the workplace. And once we really start becoming more confident about our skills as such, that's when the confidence of equality also starts coming in. And I feel that nowadays, coming back to your question, Steve, the conversations that I have with a lot of corporates, I feel that a lot of them are quite open in understanding how they can sort of get a differently abled person and normalize them in the space. So I feel that there is definitely a gap still, as far as understanding the our world maybe, and understanding how to bridge this gap. But the positive part is that people are talking about this, and corporates are open to understand this. So it is not just a tick in the box that they have to, an HR person has to just fill in some positions, and hence they have to just like employ people. I feel that genuinely people are trying to understand how we can accommodate people who are differently able, and how things can move forward. But I do think that there is still a lot of gap in terms of understanding how this sensitization can happen, how normalization can happen, how performance appraisals should happen, how accommodations should be given to a lot of people who are differently able. So there is gap, but the good part is that the intention is there, and that's the start point always. The foundation is always intention, and then these are tactical issues that can be really resolved if they have the right partners, and they're companies like Sarthi are really sort of talking about this, helping corporates to take them to the next level, accommodate and integrate the differently abled workforce into the abled workforce. So I think this change will eventually happen, but the good part is that the intention is there. So yeah, that's what I really see right now, how I see things changing.
Thanks a lot, Ashish, for sharing that, and very, very well said. That as these actions are progressing, it's really about rebuilding ecosystems in organizations. And there is two very important words that you picked up just now, and I know this is almost like a segue from the last session that we had, where one of the comment that was made is, when will the language for that is used, the word accommodation, how will that start becoming the word integration? You are bringing different people, different types of peoples. And the sense is, it's not just about disability. Even people who are non-disabled, but they're different, we all are different, require different things to be successful. The moment you start looking at it, and one of the comment was, when did we stop using the word accommodation? Because it seems you're doing a favor to me, and start shifting to integration.
Yeah.
So, and that seems like a great question to sort of go to Aarti with, because she has also the linguistic capability to start defining this for us.
I hope I get my PhD admission if I have that capabilities. No, actually, the thing is, I agree with the fact that the whole linguistic, every word in our society has a literal meaning, and then it has a societal connotation to it, like disability does, like accommodation does. Like we are going an extra mile, and we are accommodating you. So
Aarti, you are on mute.
Aarti, you're on mute. I think you've gone on mute.
oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, so I was saying that, did you hear the first point I made, that the word with the literal connotation comes with the societal connotation as well? And when we talk about the integration, it's a more inclusive word, because it doesn't only talk about disability. It talks about people coming from different backgrounds. See, when we talk about employer, thinking from a perspective of employers, yeah, sure, they want the job to be done. But again, that's not the only, that should not be the only criteria to hire people. Because when you are in the position of such power, you have a bigger responsibility to integrate as many people as you can. And it's not limited to disability. It's people who come from disadvantaged backgrounds, people who are first generation learners who don't have those communication skills. It becomes a, again, it's not all the responsibility doesn't lie to employers, but some of it becomes you have to you have to get a little lenient with your job requirements and probably help skill them in this. Every person has certain abilities, and if you think that those abilities can be an asset to you, a few abilities that are lacking can be skilled upon. So I think that's one thing that that sensitization should be brought to the employers, that the idea should be to not only hire people who can get the job done, but hire people from all the backgrounds, because that will make your workplace more inclusive, more safe, and more people friendly, I guess. So that's what I feel. And again, I think again, the whole corporate sector is trying to make a big push on diversity and inclusion, like DEI initiatives. But a lot of DEI initiatives still lack the understanding on invisible disabilities.
Right.
And that understanding needs to be built. Like the DEI programmers needs to be skilled and needs to be sensitized, so that I am not, when I'm going for an interview and I disclose my disability, I am not being asked questions like, how is thalassemia a disability? You don't seem to have a mobility issue. Like these questions should not be there. I should not have to elaborate how thalassemia is the disability when it is rightly mentioned that it is. So I think that's what I believe. I think it's a two-way process. We both have to step ahead. Like people should, a person with disabilities need to come out, need to talk about it, because again, unless and until we talk about it, we are not going to make a space inclusive. Talking about it makes people aware that, okay, this is a problem, we need a solution to it, or this is an issue and we need to work around it. But if we will not talk about it, nobody knows that it exists.
Absolutely.
So
Very
I think
very well put, Aarti.
that's what I want
and
to
this
say.
matters so much. So interestingly, we have a listener, Sandeep Singh. So if we can just bring him on to the and Sandeep is a student at IIM Kozhikode, and let's get an even fresher perspective to see what's happening, and he wanted to share an example. Can we bring up Sandeep to the? Let me just see if we can do that here.
Am I audible to all?
Yeah, absolutely, Sandeep. You are.
Hello all. First, I'd like to say that there was a time when I was fully able, and when I was able, I was a known person. I was doing my engineering from Himachal Pradesh. I have done my schooling from Chandigarh, and when I was doing my all things, then I was a shortlisted candidate of a TV series known as MTV Roadies. I was also
Okay.
shortlisted candidate of a TV series known as Indian Idol. And then I was a very known personality in public speaking, theatre activities. As I was a renowned theatre actor, Shimla and Chandigarh, and in singing also, as I won many awards nationwide. But one night, when I was doing my engineering, we were coming back from Chandigarh, and we had a very serious accident. And I was in coma. I was in ventilator, and I suffered many injuries, many injuries, which was like a plastic surgery of my jaw, and was in coma. I was a ventilator. So after coming out of it, I become multiple differently able. I lost my whole left hand side was paralyzed. Was in wheelchair for 3 years, and lost my left eye vision also. And what to say as I was suffering from left side hemiparesis. And then I was thinking that what should I do? What should I do? I did my MBA. I did my first MBA from a local college because my parents were like very over possessive. They were saying, "Nee, you will not go away from us." I did my first MBA from a local college, which was near to my house and was of my dad's friend. My dad's friends were running that college. I did my first MBA from that college, but as a result, didn't got good job. But my father was happy. Okay, he's doing something. So I got married. But my marriage didn't went well because of the whole thing, and as a result, I got separated. I got no divorce. After that, I was for the whole year I was in a hell lot of depression. My family was cursing me. Look what you have done. This accident happened, and then divorce happened. Many things happened. I was really all on a back foot. But then, thanks to good Lord, I got married again, and this time with in my village that's in back there in UP, Uttar Pradesh, and my wife is also disabled. I got married to her, and sooner, very soon I became father also. I'm 7 years old, and when I hold that 2.5 feet in my hand, man, that was the moment. I told to myself, what am I doing myself? I was this, I was that, and after becoming disabled, I can't do anything. And suddenly the corona also stuck. And for those 2 years, I dedicated the whole time in studying. And as a result, I cracked CAT. I got IIM Lucknow, I got IIM Kozhikode, I got IIM Indore also. But I chose IIM Kozhikode. So now I'm a student of IIM Kozhikode, but currently I'm in Bangalore interning with Capgemini. I'm 37 years old, 37 again saying at this age also I'm a student doing my second MBA. My family is there. I have a son also. He's just 3 years old, very far from me, and means everyone has to pay something. I'm paying I'm losing those precious years of my son's life means I'm losing that, but still I'm happy because whatever I'm doing for him only. And the one thing I would like to say that I was asking for the number and the contacts of Ashish because I heard that Ashish is somewhat related to this showbiz thing, and I was much into it because, as I told you, I was a renowned theater actor. I won many awards. Theater acting and singing was my one of my talents. So that's why I was asking for this thing. But I can say one thing to each one of you. If you have anything, like I will tell you one more thing. No one after seeing me, no one can make out that it is safe. But still, I will tell you one more thing. Two things I have told you. The third thing is I'm I'm mentally also I'm not well. I'm taking pills. Still, I'm from last 14 years. I'm taking depression pills from last 14 years because many things happen. Means I just like to say whatsoever you have in you, speak up, speak up, speak up, speak up. People will hear and they will respond. If you have anything, go and ask. They will find a solution. And at most, a person can say no, nothing more than that. Just I want every one of you just to speak up. Whatever is in your heart, go and ask. Because if you want job, go and ask. They will surely. If there is any possibility, they will give. If you want some what we say accessibility thing, something you want, go and ask. This will be given to you. This thing I've learned from my life. And one thing I can say, if you have something, go and show. Then only you can get it. Get the skills.
Very well said, Sandeep. And what a remarkable journey, from all the shows that you were part of to transforming yourself again and building yourself back. And I think we all wish you a great health as well as you are building back. Building back is never easy, but you are showing that tenacity, and that means a lot to people. And I think 2-3 key lessons that you are sharing is here. You can always build back, which is something that Darshana also shared when she was talking about her journey. And the most important part is you got to talk about it. There are people who are willing to listen. There are people who are willing to support. There are organizations that are changing. And from various examples today, we also learned that the ecosystems are also changing. But you got to go and talk about capability. You got to talk about skills, and you got to show what you have. Very important message that you shared is: are you showing what you have, versus are you being constrained with what you potentially feel you don't have? And I think that's where our conversation started. Just very mindful of time. We got about 5 or 6 minutes for this. And we can open this up for questions. If there are any questions, we'll be happy to start taking them. or you could just put it on the chat and we will keep picking up questions and start bringing those questions to one of the panelists. If you want to ask a question to one of the panelists, please mention the name as well, and we'll just bring it back to them. So let's give it a minute. But please put in your questions. If there's a question to any of the panelists, we'll take them. Or if they're general, I'll do that same thing. Any questions coming up from all the amazing viewers here? My dear friend Sumit, you are also very quiet today. No questions coming from you? Yeah, you want to ask a question? Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you do that? You could just get off mute and speak.
Yeah, so my question is to Ashish ji. Do you think people with invisible disabilities are at an advantaged position, if I may say so, where if they choose to hide their disabilities, they can?
Your question is that we can choose to hide a disability, and
So
that's an advantageous position.
Compared to somebody who does not have who has a visible disability, I think he's comparing that.
Yeah, I mean, I've not thought about it, but I would say that if I were to like look at it spontaneously, maybe the world might just consider that everything is okay. But I really feel that while from a physical standpoint it might be advantageous, but from a mental standpoint or a psychological standpoint, the person who's actually suffering from an invisible disability might just go through a lot of dilemma in his own or her mind. Say for example, I'll just give you a very genuine example that I face. People think that I'm snobbish, and why they think that I'm snobbish is that if say if I'm walking in the park and someone says hi, generally I maybe sometimes miss that because I don't see the eye of the other person, and maybe I don't recognize the face of the other person. And I've always thought, behind my back, I've understood that people are thinking that I'm snobbish. But the fact is that how should I keep on telling the world that I want to make a connection with all of you, but it's just that you'll have to come close to me and say hi to me. So I feel that what I'm trying to say is that yes, externally, if I look at it, maybe I would be considered, or people with invisible disability might just be considered as normal, but psychologically there's just like a lot of dilemma within, because you yourself don't understand whether you need support or you don't need support. So I would say it comes with a pinch of salt, but as long as you're honest and as long as you accept your own condition, and the whole idea is you have a growth mindset and you just want to like eventually learn the skill, eventually upskill yourself, and keep improving from your past self. I feel it just helps in progressing your own journey, and that's what really matters. So whether it's visible disability, invisible disability, or no disability at all, as long as if a person has a growth mindset, he will remain curious, he will remain competent, and he will always remain in the lookout of moving ahead his own or her own journey. And that's what one should really concentrate on, I feel, at the end of the day.
Great.
Yeah, can I add something here?
Yeah, please, Darshana. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, as we go through, Ashish, there is a question specifically for you around which hospitals or doctors you have approached, and maybe we can pick that up offline. It's from Deepa. Deepa, if you can please share your number, we'll get you the details separately.
Okay.
Yeah, Darshana, over to you.
Yeah, actually, I'll continue what Ashish said. He said it very rightly. I'll give you my example. Uh, when there was not acceptance from my side for my disability, for my eye condition. So because my eye condition was progressive, I started losing my vision slowly, gradually. So initially, I used to hide from the people that I'm having certain eye problems. So it was the reality. It was a harsh reality, but it was there when I was not aware of opportunities for visually impaired people in terms of everything. So before that, I used to hide, but basically I faced lots of problem because of that. Because other people, the person who does not know about me, should have taken me as a person with able body, and he would not help me anywhere if I will stuck somewhere. But later, when my eye condition got progressed, I used to tell about it to people. Okay, I'm having this problem, and I got more resources, more help, and gradually it helped me to grow with my disability. I got more chances to learn my disability and to learn how to overcome it. And after that, when I got to know how to overcome it, I never hide it from the people. So I would suggest that we should not hide it until and unless there is no such harsh conditions. We should be open.
Thanks a lot, Darshana.
Can I also add a point?
Yeah, I was just coming
Yeah.
to you only because we're at the last 2 minutes, and I'm going to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
to all three of you to add
I'll
your bit. So they could
I'll
start.
just be quick about.
Yeah,
Huh,
sure.
so the when we talk about, I was talking about hiding the disability. So I agree that when people with invisible disabilities can be at a slight advantage, because the issue of social exclusion that a lot of people with mobility issues and visual impairment issues face, that is reduced quite a bit. But when I hide my disability at a workplace, for example, then I have to hide my treatment schedules. I have to hide if I have a complication, I take a week off, I will have to hide that. And it just becomes a vicious cycle of hiding things again and again and just lying about it. So I think we should aspire for a world where there should not be a need to hide a disability. Like, why do I need to hide it? It's not a problem. It's just a different lifestyle, I'd say. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
I just have a quick question, if I may. A very technical question for Aarti, that, in terms of visible disabilities, you have a disability certificate which is easy to quantify and benchmark, that you have 40% disability, you have 50% disability, you have 60% disability. And the disability certificates need to be submitted in case you are applying to some jobs, or if you're applying and if you want to disclose that you have a disability. However, in terms of invisible disabilities like thalassemia, how do you quantify the percentage of disability?
That's a great question, actually. Uh, Thalassemia people, sickle cell people are having a huge trouble getting disability certificates because of the issue of quantification. But the Ministry of Health has come up with a guideline book. So there are several levels they have measured. So thalassemia has several complications with it. First is how transfusion dependent you are. Like, I take my transfusion in every 15 days. Like, every 15 days, I need to get blood transfused in my body. So that's one aspect of it. And when you get blood transfused in your body, your iron levels iron levels get increased. Now, if you have really high iron levels, it can even go to organ failure. So that's level 2 of marking it. What are your iron levels? Third is when you take medicines to lower the iron level, it affects your bones. You get low bone density. So if you have osteoporosis, osteopenia, then the disability percentage gets higher. So, like, I have osteopenia as well. My iron levels are also not very good, but it's not that bad. So the disability certificate that has been issued to me measures 75% of disability. So that's how they have various steps and stages to mark it.
Great
But
sharing. Kriti. And
yeah, but one issue is we lack. There's a huge scarcity, I would say, for hematologists and doctors in government hospitals, especially in rural areas. So that is challenging because there is nobody to assess these parameters. And that's why people with invisible disabilities have great difficulty to get a UDID card or a disability certificate.
And very important sharing. I think a lot of people, listeners, many of us who are working in this space are also yet to equip ourselves with all this knowledge so that we can take it further. And it is really the participation of people coming in and talking about it, because you're handling this change, and you're moving through life and building careers along with this, normalizing these conversations, and very, very important. Thanks for sharing this. And these are very important conversations for corporates to also to begin to understand, to begin to sort of accept and work around. I think COVID over the last 2 years changed a lot of things for workplaces. It made workplaces flexible. It's made workplaces and work, hybrid. It has changed the way, and specifically with a lot of tech-led roles, a lot of change has come in. And we do hope that with a conversation like this, we are able to impact more and more organizations, as well as a lot of the listeners here who've been struggling with a dilemma or whether to talk to an organization or not. So the lessons learned from all the speakers here are amazing, in terms of how they've approached life, in terms of how they feel you should be approaching some of these conversations. We wish you all the very best for your careers. If you need any help from us, please do reach out to us at Saarthi when it comes to your careers. If you're an organization or an HR leader or a DEI leader listening in, please do reach out to us at Saarthi, because we'll be able to work with you in your journey. And thank you very much for today. Thanks a lot. Aarti, if you can have your camera on, then we could close this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.